Welcome to Borders Rugby in Focus. We're at Mansfield Park, home of Hawick Rugby Club, and we're here with Graham Hogg, Rocky Johnstone, John Thorburn, Iain Hurd, and new Hawick captain Matty Carryer, as well as our own Dale Clancy, looking ahead to this weekend's Borders Festival of Rugby. Well, it's good to be here at a club with such a rich history, and Dale, you know how tough it is to get a win here, having played for Peebles, but I do remember a Peebles victory here when Jerry McGuinness was in charge in the Border League, and they beat all the odds and got a famous victory.
Yeah, ironically I wasn't playing in that game either, so it's hard to get a win anywhere when you're playing for Peebles, but no, it's always a difficult place. I said last week I've always been in awe of Hawick as a rugby club and a community. They seem to have a real tight-knit group of members, players, coaches, supporters. It's always a great place to come and to play rugby and also to watch rugby over the last few years. So, but yeah, I remember that game fondly. It was Cruikshank who got an excellent try. But yeah, very difficult place to come for all teams.
Now, Graham, welcome to our little party here, and you're a member now of the Borders Rugby TV team, so great to have you on board, and you're a man who certainly has passion for the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Starting off, as Dale says, coming down to Mansfield was a thing that we'd done pretty much since we knew how to walk, old man play and then old man refereeing, and then obviously spending a fair bit of time down here through the age groups. They're obviously getting the privilege to play for Hawick then. And
what is it about Borders Rugby that sets it apart from any other area?
It's just different. It's just that you've still got the sort of close community. Now we can see obviously teams coming together last week at Peebles. It's obviously been a fair bit of time since clubs were able to do that, and by all accounts it's just like they'd never been away. There was some good rugby on show. It was obviously good after as well for what I could make out. And it's just good to have it back.
Now, Rocky Johnstone perched at the end. It's a bit like the kind of Westlife reunion, actually, four of you on the stools there. But Rocky, you announced your retirement. Everyone thought you were going to go on forever. 27 years, though, is a good innings.
Yeah, it's a very good innings, yes. But I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been really good, and it's been a pleasure to coach a lot of kids and a lot of players coming through.
You've certainly done that. What are your highlights?
Oh, Stuart, there's been so many highlights. It's unbelievable. I mean, there's been a few. I mean, I can remember 18 years ago when my first Albion under-15 team won the Scottish Cup final against Musselburgh. The 1810 they won, and then there's been a few cup finals since then, and of course I was in charge of Hawick the day that they beat Dundee. Remember we up the Dundee game when we beat Dundee up there? That was a really tough experience. So there's been a lot of memories.
And what about the people that you've been bringing up from little boys to become British and Irish Lions?
Yeah, that's one of life's pleasures. You know, it's you've got your British and Irish Lions, your Scottish internationals, your Scottish girls is playing at the moment, and then you've got your young Grease tastes that's came through. But you know, every boy goes to the next levels. It's just a pleasure to coach. I mean, even the lads. There was 9 of them who played in the sevens last week that just recently came through the under-18s, and it was a pleasure to see them going up, as well as your good outstanding British Lions, and it's a pleasure to watch them all.
Now, Stuart's still out in South Africa at the moment, I think, but Graham's here, of course, and you've worked obviously with both of them. What were they like as little kids coming through the system? Well,
Stuart's just the same, and Stuart has always just been the same. He just loves his rugby ball. You know, even when I had Stuart in the gym at under 15, he'd walk in with a rugby ball. So he wasn't really a great gym user, but he got used to it, and he used to understand that gym was very essential for his career, which Rory was totally different. I mean, Rory was a beast in the gym, and he was a very strong laddie, and I think that's progressed him through. So yeah.
Are you kind of still pinching yourself that 2 boys from Trinity in Hawick make the debut for the British and Irish Lions in the first test on the same day? I mean, that's extraordinary.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, the 2 boys for Trinity, and then of course you had Lisa Thompson for Trinity as well, and she was representing Great Britain. So yeah, from a lot of primary school, it's totally unreal, isn't it?
Now, you haven't, I noticed, mentioned Graham yet. So what was Graham like under your coaching?
Actually, Graham was a very, very strong, powerful boy when he was younger. He was absolutely a great player, and we had high hopes for Graham making it well, he did make it, to be honest. He was a really good player.
Scotland Sevens International and
Yeah.
Scotland Club International as well. You didn't do too bad, Graham.
Yeah, it's a little bit different when you've spoke about 2 Lions in South Africa and then turn it back on me, Stuart. So thanks for that. But no, I remember I was just finishing off actually working down here when Rocky started, and I was lucky enough to, when he started his journey, to be involved in that, and I think Hawick can be forever grateful for the work that he's done, and obviously all the boys that he's brought through. He mentioned the 2 boys, obviously Stuart and Rory from Trinity. The chances of that ever happening again, especially in Scotland, is slim to none. Obviously both primary school, walking to school together in the mornings, going through obviously their paths taking different turns at a time, but then to come back and play, obviously even with Wyn Jones getting injured in that lead up to the first test, and then them both starting the test was obviously, as you said, what dreams are made of for everybody.
And what is it about Hawick, Rocky, then, that produces all this talent?
I think it's, as Graham said before, it's very close knit. I mean, your dad played, your granddad played, his granddad played. So I mean, it's in the blood down here. You know, there's always somebody that's played, and their parents get into it. The parents watch it. The parents are really passionate down in Hawick. So I think that's actually where it comes from.
Well, Graham, just turn back to you again. You've presumably spoken to your brother since the British Lions last test. Unfortunately, wasn't involved in it, but how did he see it overall?
How did he see it? An enjoyable experience. There are very few people, and I think he'd mentioned it quite a lot, that he was in a privileged position to be able to go on his 3rd tour. Now, was it the same as obviously the tours beforehand? Then not. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why it wasn't the case. But from what I could make out in the conversations that were had, he enjoyed his time. A close-knit group, they worked hard together. But at the end of the day, you're playing 3 tests against the world champions, and obviously the first game that came out on top. But the second 2, I think after that first one, they knew exactly what was coming. And unfortunately it just didn't have enough in the armoury to get over the line in the end.
Would he be bringing back a little memento from the trip, especially for you?
Well, I'm hoping he's told me this time that he got a kit size up this year, so I'm looking forward to at least 2 bags worth of kit when he comes home.
Matty, let's bring you in for the first time. Congratulations on your captaincy this year. Via Peebles, of course, you started with, then Tagala, now at Hawick. And that's some achievement, you know, someone outside the area captaining Hawick for the season.
Yeah, it's a real honour, I suppose. I was vice last year, and I never ever thought it would ever lead to captaincy, really. So I'm really honoured.
And you'd be pretty comfortable, I'd imagine, in charge, yelling at the lads as well, getting a bit of extra control.
Yeah, I'd say I've always been quite vocal on the pitch, and leading as well. It's just sort of something that comes sort of natural, whether it's speaking or just by the way I'm playing. So I wouldn't say much has changed really. It's just I've got to speak to the ref's face instead of behind his back now. So.
It's been an unusual build-up to this season, obviously. I mean, you know, cast our mind back nearly 2 years when George Graham was in charge, and he wanted to go out on a high, and he certainly transformed the club and was, you know, fantastic, achiever from when he came in. But of course, he wasn't able to get you to the playoffs in the end because everything was shut down. And then Stuart Johnstone came in, and now Matty Douglas is in charge. So, how's that sort of affected the whole team setup?
I think the players are just starting to get like that real bit of rugby back now. There's that light at the end of the tunnel. I think now the last 18 months, well, we've done 2-3 pre-seasons and it's just ended to nowhere really. So now that we've got our actual couple sevens games under the belt and pre-season games coming forward, and I think the boys are taking it in their stride. Like the change of coaches hasn't helped greatly, but with Matty Douglas at the helm now, it's looking quite positive. And
of course, Matty's been involved with the club for a long, long time. He had a spell at Kelso, of course, as a player towards the end of his career before he got injured. But he knows all of you.
Yeah, Matty's very experienced for saying he's still quite young. I'd say he's soaked up a lot of the coaches that he's worked with the last 2 or 3 years. He's learnt a lot of George, I would say, and everybody rated him as a player when he played. So yeah, he was just taking everything he's thrown at us now.
Me and Matty were probably unfortunate to be coming through Peebles at a time where everybody was pretty young. I think I was a young captain at Peebles. Matty was always at the forefront of organising events, organising players, training. Just being a leader. And for a young guy coming up to a senior team at the time, it was something that was, it's a great character to have in a player. And I think over time he's really, like Matty's really improved as a player. The best thing he ever done, in my opinion, was perhaps leave Peebles to challenge himself, go to Gala, get experience, top end games, top quality opposition, and then come down to Hawick. And I think really overall it's a nice reward for Matty for what he's done over the last few years. Obviously a Scotland club international cap as well. So, I think captaining at Hawick is a nice reward for Matty for what he's done over the last few years.
Well, of course, this is the second programme in the series of Borders Rugby in Focus, and of course we'll be looking back and also looking forward. Today's the first opportunity to actually look back at some Borders Rugby, and of course it was the Peebles Sevens taking place last weekend, and it was pretty spectacular stuff. You were down there with the team, and I was very impressed with everything on and off the pitch.
Yeah, I think I've said to a few people, I think it was almost the best advertisement for community rugby that I've seen from a club. I think over the whole weekend, the under-16s, the under-18s, women's rugby, senior rugby and the clan rugby as well, well sponsored, well run. I think it was really, I think Peebles are due a lot of credit for holding an event it really advertised rugby well. And although that was in Peebles, the other clubs will be looking to do similar things. Hawick this weekend, we've got Gala the weekend after. And I think it has been a good opportunity for people just to try and get the community back in again, because that's what they are. They're community clubs and they've got to serve their members, be it a player, a coach, a supporter, a sponsor. And I think People's done a really excellent job the weekend past. And
in the men's and the women's, we had a double, Hearts and Balls getting through. And it was one of those tournaments where you really couldn't pick a winner.
No, I think that the Hearts and Balls in the female tournament, I think they always looked a cut above everybody else. They looked really impressive. Rachel Loss specifically was an excellent player for Hearts and Balls. The men's tournament was a little bit different. I think you could see there was a lot of teams who perhaps didn't have a lot of rugby in them. It kind of evened the playing field a little bit. The big teams, like perhaps I did pick Hawick to go on. I think I was quite fancying them for the younger players that I'd seen over the last few years. Jed were big favourites, Melrose were big favourites, and they all fell away, and you were left with Selkirk and Hearts and Balls in the final. And I think Selkirk will be kicking themselves. They probably should have won it, but Hearts and Balls, they've been playing sevens for a long time. They've been used to this invitation setup as well, where they join a group and they have to adapt quickly. And I think you've seen that when they were getting into the second half, they still had a bit of legs in them. So yeah, a surprising winner, but I think it was a good advert overall.
And the Colts went right down to the wire. Hawick Youth winning that one against Melrose Wasps right at the death, and we had some tremendous talent on show, not only on the Sunday with the Colts, but on the Friday night when I was down there with the under-16s, and of course Peebles, 113 points, 4-0 against, and potential stars coming through that we could easily see.
Yeah, I think without going too much in depth, I think Peebles have always been in danger of really erupting into being a good rugby club, and for one reason or another, be it their location or their area, it's always passed them by, and I think me and Matty can probably vouch more than most for that. But it's great to see. I think over the weekend, the winners, the losers, everybody that participated, I think it was great to see rugby back being played again. It got you back interested again to see some live crowds. Even the Peebles bigger game, the Sevens game, was that you heard the crowd shouting and cheering like it used to, and it was just a great advert. But overall, yeah, the under-16 is a great achievement for Peebles, and obviously Hawick to add another junior youth trophy to their cabinet. It's just it's constant for them. But yeah, it was a good weekend.
And another big local story, which was good to see, Southern Knights going to Golden Acre, again a difficult place to get a result, and won by 21 points. Fabulous, a bonus point for them. They've now got 8 points from the first two matches, and they're yet to play at home.
Yeah, I think again the Super 6 stuff is perhaps just came in the periphery for me with just the involvement with the club stuff starting. But I think for me it's always been, I think it's got its place, and I think there's always been sceptics of it, and there's obviously, because the Borders, we spoke about it before, Graham spoke about it, how the Borders is kind of a heartland for rugby. It's always going to be controversial if you've got that change, but it's good to see the Super 6 producing results. I think when they first started off pre-COVID, they maybe never hit the ground running. Results were a bit indifferent, but it seems now that get a good positive start, they can take that on and try and build something into the rest of the season.
We're in the very start of the season now. I mean, are you getting kind of itchy feet seeing some live rugby again?
Oh yeah, I'll be down on Saturday. I'll definitely be down on Saturday to watch the Hawick 7s, and then I'll be back down on Sunday to watch the 16s, and I think there's a game for the 15s against the Vikings, I think it is, they're playing, and of course the 18 7s on Sunday as well. So
yes, that's plenty on your shopping list, but surely you're going to look out there and say, oh, hang on, I can make that guy better, or I can do this and that. Is it tempting?
It's very tempting. It is very, very tempting, but it's time. It is definitely time to take a sit back and let somebody else learn the game, learn their job, and crack on with it.
Okay, well, let's turn to Graham again. I mean, you and your brother obviously always played with flair from a very early days, and you were team players, but you could also turn on the magic button when you wanted to, get them individual performances as well, and there's some great examples of that, isn't there?
Yeah, the magic button was, for me, just get the ball to Stuart and then just run after him. Even from a very young age, when he first started playing in those sevens tournaments, it was pretty obvious straight away that just give him the ball and then something will happen. Yeah, that's the magic button. We had boys round about in terms of, if we're going back to those sort of sevens days, you had your Rory Huttons, your Neil Rennicks, your Ryan Hoggs. Obviously coming up to the sevens this weekend, a team that I think we won 5-6 on the bounce. And having boys like that round about you, it was easy to play, and it was enjoyable to play, which was the main thing. Changing
slight direction now, we caught up with Iain Hurd, one of the most experienced referees in the Borders, and throughout the season we're going to be teaming up with the Borders Rugby Referees Society on a number of initiatives to support their aim of recruiting new members and also working closer with players, coaches and clubs in the future.
The main global variations that have been brought in this year are the 50-22, so team who are in their own half, if they kick the ball into touch and it bounces into touch in the opposition 22, then they get the throw in at the line out. And the other one's the goal line dropout. So again, if the ball's held up, it's no longer a scrum, or if it's knocked on and goal by the attacking team, or, strange enough, following on from yesterday's clip, is if the ball's kicked into the in-goal area, it then becomes the responsibility of the defending team to basically get it back out again. And if they don't, again, it's a goal line dropout. So there's going to be some interesting things around there. So it's a couple they've seemed to have taken from rugby league, and there was the Rainbow Cup, I think, the Pro 14 spin-off. There's an interesting clip in that where one of the Italian teams knocked on over the line. Glasgow player picked up the ball, took a quick drop out. It went about 6 metres, and 2 passes later, the guy was running 80 metres into underneath the post. So there's a potential to be an attacking weapon as well, even though you're on your own line. So there's going to be a lot of thought going into it, and I've certainly discussed it with a couple of clubs already about what you need to be thinking about.
Well, we'll certainly be following the progress of how these kind of new laws are brought into play, and also obviously we'll be doing a few sessions now and again with some of the students who will be giving us examples of laws, and I think that's another thing which is pretty important to do. So thanks very much indeed for coming round to see us. We don't often hear from referees, but on this programme you have a voice, so we'll certainly be using that in the future.
Thanks, Stuart.
Well, thanks to Iain Hurd there, and always good to hear the views of a referee as well. How did you get on with referees, Graham?
Yeah, okay.
Silence there.
Yeah, and they're a vital part of the game, Stuart, aren't they? And I think you've probably seen in the last few years in terms of that is an aspect of the game that needs to be worked on as well. Now, Rocky alluded to it earlier in terms of getting players through the system and getting coaches, etc. through the system. We need referees as well. As I say, we need them in terms of from your mini stuff all the way up. So if you've got guys like Hurdy who's been great round about the Borders, in terms of developing these guys, then perfect. As I say, it's very much needed.
Is that something you ever wanted to do, become a referee?
No.
And Rocky, when you're sort of bringing the kids up as well, and you're showing them discipline and all that kind of thing, it's a very important part, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean refereeing is top notch. You've got to have referees or the game don't go ahead. I mean, I love refereeing myself. I mean, I wouldn't want to referee at the highest levels, but refereeing the kids, and you've got to understand, it's pointless coaching unless you understand the rules of the game. So refereeing is and it's crucial, and it's crucial that you teach your youngsters to the man in the middle has got the whistle and he's in charge, and it's yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir.
The theme these days for a coach, I suppose, is make it a team game and involve everyone and pass the ball and stuff. Where's the balance between someone who's obviously got individual flair? Is there a danger that you can actually coach them out of that by telling them to play a team game?
Depends what type of coach you are. I mean, if that player like Stuart's got the flair, let him play his game. And it's the same as Finn Russell. Let him play his game. Try not to teach him anything else, because it doesn't work. And
so that's really an advisory role then you play, kind of thing, is it?
I think basically you've got to put the basics into them. You've got to learn them how to tackle, pass, catch, kick, and give them a little flair for how to play a game at rugby, a little bit understanding, a little bit shape, and then let them play. Let them decide what they want to do.
Well, let's move on to this weekend. It's the Borders Festival of Rugby. And earlier I spoke with John Thorburn, who's been heavily involved, obviously, in putting it all together.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to the Borders Festival of Rugby this weekend. It's good that People's got off the ground last week, and it was great to see everybody there. And we're just hoping to have the same again with another step up this weekend for everybody.
How are the restrictions affecting Hawick?
It's been challenging because it's really a waiting game to hear from the governing body at Murrayfield and also from the Scottish Borders Council. But we're planning ahead, and everything's going to be okay following the relaxation at the beginning of the week.
And it is really a festival of rugby, 3 days. We've got the Teary Touch on Friday, the main competition on the Saturday. Then we've the under-16s and the Colts playing sevens down here and also at Mansfield Park. But the finals, both finals, are going to be on the main pitch, and that's on Sunday. Yeah,
it's a busy weekend. And we've also fitting in a Hawick Force 15-a-side game with Jed Seconds on Saturday prior to the Kings of the Sevens tournament. And on Sunday, the youth under-15s are playing Edinburgh Vikings at 11 o'clock. So really looking forward to it, and we'll just fingers crossed for a bit decent weather and get a few supporters down.
And of course, leading up to this, as we can see behind us, there's camps going on, etc., and it's great to see the kids running about.
Yeah, we've not had a camp for a while here, and you can see by the numbers, everybody's enthusiastic about it. I think Stuart Hogg and Rory Sutherland would help a bit, but we're fortunate to have these fellas came through our system. So it's all about finding the next Stuart or Rory.
Now, it's a pool system this time. Normally you've had the knockout, so I don't recall sort of in recent times many pools down here, but that's the way you've gone this time.
Yeah, what we wanted to do is give everybody 2 games, especially in August, and we've also got pools of 12 with rolling replacements. So you would like to think the coaches will give everybody a game in August, which is no far off the season starting, and that's the reason we went to pools and to the 12-team squads.
Now, one lovely touch, of course, is that the NHS workers are going to be getting free admission.
Yeah, we've actually dropped the admission for everybody to £10 and £5. That's less than normal. And 2 benefits we've put out is to our own members who paid last year, but although they paid, they didn't get any rugby. So we're giving them free entry, which is not normally the case. And as a gesture to the NHS and everything to do with COVID, we're offering the NHS staff, if they produce their ID cards, they'll get free entry on Saturday. So I think we're really happy to help the NHS in that way.
So it's been 5 years now since we last saw Hawick lift their own trophy. They went through a period, of course, in recent times where they had 7 or 8, I think, on the bounce, which was amazing. So all the local Hawick people will be looking to see if they can get back on that winning streak once again. It would be win number 45 if you do it.
Yeah, there's always a bit of pressure on the Greens to play well at their own tournament. And I think there's a few reminders going out that they've not won it for a while. So yeah, they'll be putting everything into it to try and get the result at the weekend.
The draw has been made. It's a pool system this time rather than the knockout format.
The draw is favourable for Hawick. It's a really good draw because they beat Peebles on Saturday past in the pool stages, and Musselburgh, I'm led to believe they've got a 15s game as well. But at the same point, Peebles run Hawick close as well, so this is it's no formality. The draw does look favourable, but you've still got to beat the teams in front of you. But again, I think at the moment teams are trying to feel each other out. They're trying to suss out who's, how things are going. And Hawick, they want to progress to their own tournament. They've got, Graham's already alluded to it, they've got such success at their home tournament. But you still have to beat the two teams and progress from your pool. And we've seen on Saturday, teams like Jed, teams like Melrose, if you don't progress from your pool, you don't have a chance of winning your tournament. So they've got to take those two games seriously. Stranger things have happened, but it's certainly, they'd go into that pool heavy favourites.
Okay, Pool A then, let's have a look. Gala, Melrose and Boroughmuir. We'll go around the four of you and see who you would tip. Just one club, please, to come out of Pool A. Gala, Melrose or Boroughmuir. Rocky?
I'd go for Melrose at that pool.
Okay. Dale?
I'd go Melrose. Gala were good on Saturday, but I think Melrose will get their shopping order.
Graham?
I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to go Gala.
Okay, they were pretty impressive. I mean, when they were playing Hearts and Balls, they were 3 tries clear, and then Hearts and Balls came back at the end, and there's some good young players coming through. Matty?
I'll go Gala.
Gala, so 2 Gala and 2 for Melrose for that one. Pool B is Hawick, Musselburgh and Peebles. This is a loaded question.
Yes, let's go Hawick.
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 There was a hesitation there, Graham.
Mike stopped working.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah. So, Hawick clean sweep there for Pool B. I'm sure Musselburgh and Peebles will certainly have something to say about that. Pool C, Jed Forest, Berwick, Watsonians.
That's a good one. I'd go Jed. I'd definitely go Jed because they're a good outfit.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Jed will be a bit stronger than they were on Saturday past.
Watsonians, usually a very good 7. Pretty sure they'll have 15s games and stuff on as well. Jed are obviously usually a very good 7, and so Jed it is.
And Matty?
I'll go with Watsonians, I think.
Okay, so a good split there. And finally on Pool D, Selkirk, Edinburgh Accies and Kelso.
That's the very intriguing pools that I like to see. I mean, Selkirk did really well last week, so you've got to kind of tip them, but we've never seen the other 2 play yet. So I would tip Selkirk to go through that group.
I think you've got to go with that as well because there's no real form for Edinburgh Accies. Kelso looked good, but just not good enough, so I'd probably go Selkirk as well.
I'm going to mix it. I'm going to go Accies. Accies were always in tournaments gone by. You never knew what they were bringing. You never knew what was going to come, and they got to the latter stages of a lot of tournaments. So without any form, I would still back them to have a shot of it.
And finally, Matty.
After seeing Selkirk last week, I think I'll back Selkirk.
Yeah, so quite a split there. There's some interesting ties that are going to be happening. That's on Saturday from 2 o'clock, of course. Now, let's go down memory lane with you, Graham, now, because back in 2010, down here in the Mansfield Park, it was Hawick making the final, and it was an amazing final against Kelso. What are your memories of that?
I'm not massive on remembering certain games, to be perfectly honest with you. There is games throughout your career that you do remember. In terms of that game, apart from basically getting laid out on my own 22 through no fault of my own, I should add.
You wouldn't punch yourself, would you?
No. Well, that's about it. But obviously, as we mentioned before, like I look back at that era rather than actual individual games. And the boys that we mentioned before, we would perform here. Melrose, the first week of the 7th season, was always an absolute shocker for us. But then we used to play ourselves into it. And as I say, it was playing with those boys and the talent that we had in that 10 around about that time is the stuff I can remember rather than the individual games.
Because you went on an incredible run. Was it 6 or 7 on the trot?
My good friend Michael Robertson, who played in every single Hawick Sevens I think that's ever been that he makes out, I think he tells me it was 6 they played on the bounce and he won all 6.
They did.
So yeah, that's phenomenal, to be fair. To win 6 on the bounce is incredible.
And well, I mean, we've talked enough about it. Let's show us the highlights of that with, of course, the late great Stuart McCulloch commenting on it. And here we are. Let's bring back a few memories for you.
And it's going to be Kelso to kick off, kicking towards the Hawick YM end here at Mansfield Park. So here we go then, 10 minutes each way. Iain Ford of Kelso with the high one. Michael Robertson picks up for Hawick, out to Graham Hogg, and Hogg bursting right through the middle already. He's over the halfway line. Has he got the support though? He's been tracked all the way by Gary Mulroy. What a tackle from the Kelso scrum half, and he just puts Graham Hogg into touch on that Kelso 22. But Hawick really setting the statement of intent there. They're going for it. Graham Hogg is chasing back. He's on his own at the moment inside the Hawick 22 now. He's got John Coots to his left hand side. Now what will he do here? He's got 4 Kelso men round him here. Graham Hogg, and he goes right through them all. He's got Gary Johnstone now right in the middle. Johnston going all the way 10 metres in. He's working his way to the 22. He ain't going to be caught, and it's going to be first blood to Gary Johnston, and Hawick in front. What a try. And again Graham Hogg, he had 4 Kelso men round him straight through, and it was Gary Johnstone, like in the semi-final, in support. He took a quick pass and he was off. Graham Hogg then with the conversion, and he puts it over. So Hawick with a dream start in this final at Mansfield Park. 2 minutes on the clock then. It's Hawick 7, it's Kelso 0. Hawick with the restart. Kelso just looking to get some possession in hand. The high kick-off then from Graham Hogg. Underneath it is Chris Keane, but it goes the wrong way. That's going to be a knock-on. Hawick playing the advantage. Bruce McNeil on the ball. McNeil going round Ian Moody. Oh, he skinned him. He cuts inside and he's still going. He offloads into Michael Robertson, and Robertson's going to go in and touch down. What a try. Bruce McNeil skinned it on the far side, and who's in support? Michael Robertson. They really have come out all guns blazing. Graham Hogg then with the restart. This has been key for Hawick this afternoon. Has been the restarts with Neil, Keith Davis and Michael Robertson all challenging for that ball on the 10 metre line. Again, it's another high floated kick. Robertson takes it. What a take as well from Robertson. Out to Davis, along the line to Johnston. Johnston misses out Neil Rennick, comes out to John Coots. Coots then stops, tracks. Where's he going? He's going backwards, but then he's going to try and go round the player, but he feeds it back inside to Rennick. Hawick playing the patient build-up deep inside their own half now as Rennick breaks a tackle. He's through. He's got Gary Mulroy to beat. Neil Rennick then trying to go round Gary Mulroy. Rennick still going forward. He's inside that 22. He's tackled to the ground. Robertson does well. Oh, was Robertson taken out there? The referee having a look at that. Here come Kelso now on the counter-attack as the ball shipped out. Mikael Hartley on the halfway line. Kelso looking to get back inside. Gary Johnson back there for Hawick. It's Hartley who goes round Michael Robertson, and Hartley's away. He's got a 2-1 and he's off, and Mikael Hartley's going to go in for the try, and Kelso back in it. It's Hawick 14, it's Kelso 5. Scrum down, Kelso on the Hawick 22 on the stand side here. Gary Mulroy puts the ball in. Hawick knocking them backwards though, but Iain Ford picks it up for Kelso to Greg Minto. Minto trying to find the gap on, he's through, and Minto's away inside the Hawick 22, and all of a sudden 14-0 down. They are back in it. What a try from Greg Minto. He could see his intent when he got the ball. He just kind of off on the right shoulder, off on the right knee, and he was right through, cut Hawick open, and Iain Ford converts the try, and it's all square in this Hawick Sevens final. Hawick 14, it's Kelso 14. Hawick have the scrum midway between their own 10-22 as the ball comes out to Graham Hogg. Hogg gets it out to Neil Rennick. Rennick then, he's kind of Hogg caught between a hard and a rock place, but oh, he does well. Neil Rennick now, he's got Michael Robertson in support, and Robertson now absolutely trundling down the far side out to John Coots. Oh, and John Coots could not hold on the ball. You could see the frustration there, knocked it on, but certainly Michael Robertson galloping at a rate of knots there, and John Coots was actually struggling to keep up with him.
He just about was. Mikael Hartley got back in a hurry, already scored one for Kelso, and he was making ground very quickly on Robertson there. I think he could probably hear him coming, and just very hurriedly, I think, threw the pass out, and maybe just could have taken his time over it a wee bit.
Scrum down, Kelso have the ball, and it's Gary Mulroy with the break. Oh, if he'd got away there, it could have been trouble, but Kelso still on the attack along the line. Iain Ford out to Mikael Hartley. Hartley up to the halfway line. He's John Coots tracking him, and he has to go backwards at the moment. Mikael Hartley just trying to find the gap, and he's still gone through. What a run from Hartley, and the offloads, and it could be try time, and it's Ian Moody that goes in on. A punch has just been thrown on a card Stuart. Hartley's away. The referee's pulling it back now. Iain Moody has not scored the try. Why has he not done that? Well, that was silly from Michael Hartley. Absolutely stupidity personified, because Moody was going in for the try. Why did he have to turn around and try and smack Graham Hogg?
That was absolute madness. I didn't see what Hogg had done or said to him, but either way, there's no excuse. His feet had just done the talking. He'd done some fantastic work. He'd gone past about 4 or 5 Hawick players and then timed his pass to perfection. Moody was in, as you say, and I've no idea what caused them to do that, but it was absolute madness, and a chance for Kelso to get their noses in front from a 14-0 deficit.
Yeah, Kelso 14, it's Hawick 14. Hawick have got a one-man advantage now in this final. Just about half a minute to go until half-time. John Coots on the ball for Hawick. He's trying to find and go around the wrong way, and he's always through, but he's been caught though well by Alan Haig. He's 10 metres inside the Hawick half as the ball squirts out, and it's Iain Moody that's going to pick up Hawick now, and it's Iain Moody going all the way. Neil Rennick chasing, but Iain Moody's going to go into the far right corner. Is he not? Rennick takes him down. Mulroy goes in, but Mulroy has scored in the far right corner. Surely that's a try. It is a try. It should be a try, and it has been awarded. Gary Mulroy tracked by Keith Davis, but it's Kelso who go in front. Kelso 19, it's Hawick 14. So what's going to happen in this second half? Kelso have it. They're down to 6 men at the moment. The ball with Greg Minto. Minto just inside his own 22s. He offloads it to Iain Ford. Iain Ford trying to find a bit of space, but he's been caught there. Greg Minto gets it back out to Iain Moody. Iain Moody having to run behind his own try line at the moment. Back then to Iain Ford. Ford's been caught by Gary Johnson in that far left-hand corner. So where's the ball coming now? I think it's the ball's gone loose. Hawick are going to pick up. Oh, and it's touchdown, and it's a try, and it's Keith Davis. Keith Davis plays in the back row. He spotted that, the ball squirted out, and he picks up and he crashes over. Anyway, scrum down, Hawick have it, and Hawick inside their own half at the moment. Neil Rennick in possession of the ball. Hawick are running backwards at the moment. It's Graham Hogg then on the ball, and he offloads and gives it off to Alan Haig, and Alan Haig's going to be in for yet another try. He's been tracked by John Coots. Does he touch down? Yes, he does, and it's now Kelso 26, it's Hawick 19 with the conversion to come, and that all coming off a mistake from Graham Hogg. Hawick are the team that are trailing. Ball goes in, then Gary Johnson picks it up out to Graham Hogg. Hogg then finds a gap, and Hogg's through it, and he's away. Graham Hogg over the halfway line. He's got Neil Rennick in support. Rennick right through the middle, and you can see what that meant to Graham Hogg. He punched the air in delight. Rennick in support, and it's Rennick right down the middle, and he goes over for the try, and it's now Hawick 24, Kelso 26. This conversion goes over. It does. It's game on. It's all square. It's Hawick 26. It's Kelso 26. Yeah, Don Buckley gets the ball to Gary Mulroy. Mulroy then on the tackle. It's a 3-on-2 here for Kelso. Oh, the ball's inside, taken on by Iain Ford. Back to Gary Mulroy. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. He knocks the ball on when he was clear. Unbelievable. It's just the way he faced the ball for the pass, and it's gone forward. Would you believe it? Gary Mulroy thinking he was going to go in. Unbelievable here at Mansfield Park. It's Hawick 26, it's Kelso 26. 2.5 minutes to go in this final. Ball comes in then, picked up by Graham Hogg. Hogg inside his own 22, feeds it out to Neil Rennick. Rennick going on a wee run. Rennick then cuts inside. Oh, Neil Rennick's away. Now, what's he going to do? Rennick, he's got the legs of Ford. He's going to go in the right hand corner. He's going all the way, and that's going to be Hawick back in front with a minute to go or so in this final. Neil Rennick, and now it's Hawick 31, it's Kelso 26. Unbelievable. Midway between their own 10 and 22, but Michael Robertson steals it in the line, and Graham Hogg just kicks it in downfield. Does it go into touch? Yes, it does, and it's all over. You can see what it means to the Hawick team. Hawick win the title for the 3rd year in the trot. Hawick 31, Kelso 26. Have we ever seen such a tense final in our lives?
That's 3 in the trot. It's the first time it's been done since like 1900. So spoke about it all week. Again, we didn't have a great showing at Melrose, but this is the one we want.
And a real cracking final.
It was a good final. We knew it was going to be tough. Kelso are a good 7. They work hard, but credit to our boys who went behind, came back at the game. That's what we want.
So there it was, great memories for Graham and all of Hawick, I think, for that one. A terrific game of rugby, well commentated on, of course, and something that went into kind of folklore now. It's always there from 2010, the Hawick Sevens final. Well, we're going to end with a little quick quiz for you all, like we did last week. It's a subject you should be fairly comfortable with. It's Hawick Sevens tournaments. Okay, so let's see how well up you are with this. My money's on Graham Hogg or Rocky, I should think, but we'll see how it goes. So, how many times have Hawick won their own sevens, Rocky?
Wow. I'd say about 14.
14 you're going for, Dale?
18.
18, Graham? Higher or lower?
19.
19, okay. Matty?
16.
16. All gone about the teens. You're all way out. It's 44.
Wow.
Yeah, 44. Not only that, but Hawick and Wilton, I think, back in the distant past. Hawick A as well beat Hawick B in one match many years ago. So
they've been rigging it for years.
So who wins that one? Was 19, I think. That was Graham, wasn't it? Graham got the closest on that one. Now, question number 2. When was the last time the Greens won their tournament, and who did they beat? That's something a little bit closer to home now.
Not
Rocky.
close enough.
Wow.
The last time the Greens won their own tournament, and who did they beat? That's a real tricky one for you.
Yeah, I've been coming for years.
I have to put the clock on you, I think.
Aye, now the only one I can remember was 2010 Kelso,
Really?
but I'm sure there's...
Is that your answer, 2010?
Oh, I had to go with that. I can't remember anything else.
Who against?
It was Kelso, wasn't it, in the final?
Okay,
aye.
right, Dale.
I'll go 2013, and I'll guess Watsonians.
Graham.
2015. Not a clue.
Who against?
Aki's
and Matty.
I'll go 2016 Aki's.
Well, among you got all the parts of the answers right, but none of them all completely. It was 2016, so Matty was right there. And it was Watsonians. In fact, in 2016, the score was 24-17 back then. So we've got one more question to go. I can see the sweaty palms going here, so we'll just do one more. What was unusual about the 1903 Hawick Sevens final, over 100 years ago, between Hawick and Jed Forest? What was unusual about the 1903 Hawick Sevens final between Hawick and Jed Forest?
It got abandoned.
You're thinking it got abandoned, Dale?
It was a draw.
It was a draw, you were saying? What's unusual about a draw?
Well, usually you have a winner, don't you?
Yes.
A good answer, Dale.
1903, unusual match between Hawick and Jed Forest.
It got rained off.
Got rained off. Well, let me see. You go back to Dale and we go back to Rocky, because you're both right. It was abandoned at 5-5. There we go.
See? And I felt stupid for a minute.
Because of rain, though,
Anyway, it's been a great pleasure to come down at Mansfield Park and talk to you guys. That's just about it for tonight and this episode of Borders Rugby in Focus. Next week, we're going to be at Netherdale for the Marooned at Gala Festival, so we'll be previewing that and visiting Gala Rugby Club. But for now, my thanks to Dale Clancy and Rocky Johnstone, Graham Hogg and Matty Carryer. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.